Building a house in another country sounds exciting and a bit terrifying, right? You don't know local builders, you hear horror stories about budgets exploding, and yet you want to build a high-quality house. In this video, I'll tell you why, after a lot of research, we have decided for prefabricated house in Croatia, and why we believe this is the safest option for us as foreigners. When we first started dreaming about our house in Croatia, we had a pretty clear picture in mind. A turnkey, modern, one-floor bright home on a flat plot for easy elderly access, with lots of natural light, good insulation and a layout that actually fits how we live. But at the same time, we had some very real limits. We are still living and working in Germany, we don't know the Croatian construction market, and we don't have an unlimited budget. So from the beginning, we knew we had to balance this dream with three things: controlling the risk, keeping the quality at least at German levels, and making sure the whole process is manageable from abroad. We started with a real open mind. We looked at classic brick and concrete houses, and we looked at different types of prefab and modular systems in Croatia and across Europe. We read comparison articles from Croatian companies that explain how prefabricated wooden houses are built in factory conditions and then assembled on site within weeks, with fixed and predictable costs. At the same time, traditional houses are still the default in Croatia. They use familiar materials, offer a lot of design flexibility, but the cost and timeline can be much harder to predict. We also checked more general European overviews that compare prefab versus traditional homes on construction speed, cost and energy efficiency, and they all basically repeat the same message. Prefab is faster, has more cost control and standardized quality. Traditional can be great, but only if you have reliable contractors and tight supervision on site. As foreigners with no network, that last part is exactly what we don't have. When I say prefab house in this and future videos, I don't mean those modular box homes that come as complete units. I'm talking about timber frame houses where the walls are prefabricated in a factory and then assembled on site according to a custom design. For prefab houses, the pros were very clear. Much faster construction and assembly, because most of the work is done in a controlled factory and the house is assembled on site in weeks, not months. Fixed predictable pricing models. Several Croatian and European suppliers emphasize that the price agreed during design is the final price, which massively reduces the risk of surprise costs. Standardized controlled quality, with elements built to precise specifications and good insulation as part of the system, which leads to very good energy efficiency. On the con side for prefab, we saw less absolute freedom than a fully custom traditional build. You usually work with certain systems, modules or wall compositions. And you depend heavily on the manufacturer's system and their long-term stability, so choosing the right partner becomes extremely important. For traditional houses, the pros were mainly huge flexibility in design and materials. You can customize almost every detail if you have the right architect and builder. And for locals with a good network, it can be a great option because they know which companies to trust and can be on site regularly. But the cons were exactly where we felt most vulnerable. Costs can be higher and much less predictable, because material prices, labor and delays quickly add up, especially in popular coastal areas. Quality can vary a lot depending on the workers, and if supervision is weak, you can end up with hidden problems in structure or insulation that are very expensive to fix later. As foreigners, not living in Croatia yet, we simply cannot be on site every week to check what's really happening. So, in the end, our decision wasn't prefab is cooler or traditional is bad. It was which type of construction aligns best with our situation and our biggest risks. We are not familiar with local construction industry. We don't know yet which partners are truly trustworthy. And we hear enough stories about budgets exploding and projects dragging on. At the same time, we don't want to compromise on quality. We want to get exactly what we were promised, because quality problems in structure or insulation can turn into very serious and very expensive issues later. Prefab systems in Croatia are usually delivered with a fixed scope and clear technical specifications, which makes it easier to understand what you are actually buying and it reduces the risk of surprises during the build. We are used to German building standards. We don't expect Croatia to be identical, but we definitely don't want to step down in terms of structural safety, energy efficiency, or fire protection. At the same time, we want everything to be properly aligned with Croatian rules, permits, and documentation so that we don't face legal issues or expensive adaptations in the future. Many established prefab manufacturers working in Croatia explicitly design their houses to meet or exceed local regulations, and in some cases, to meet European low-energy or near-zero energy building standards, which gave us extra confidence. We have no local contacts. We've never built a house before, and our knowledge of the Croatian construction market is very limited. That means we need a partner who can not only deliver the house, but also guide us, explain steps clearly, support us with documentation, and recommend reliable subcontractors where needed. Prefab systems are typically more structured. There is a clear process from design to factory production to on-site assembly, which is easier to plan and to communicate about from a distance. For us, this combination of reduced financial risk, high and verifiable quality, and organized communication made a prefabricated house the more logical choice. Once we were convinced that prefab was the right direction, we started looking for a specific partner. We were drawn to Slovenian company Marles for a few reasons. First, they have a long history with timber frame prefabricated houses and a strong focus on energy-efficient sustainable systems, which fits our wish for a modern low-energy home. Second, they already have experience with projects in Croatia. It means they can handle Croatian conditions, and they can coordinate remotely with investors who are not on site every day. They also build houses in Germany and know German standards and customers' preferences. We also appreciated that their system is modular but still allows a good degree of customization. So it's not just a catalog box, we can adapt the design for our needs but still benefit from the controlled factory production and clear specifications. And finally, from our communication so far, we felt they were prepared to guide us through the process, explain technical details, and act as a structured, reliable partner rather than just a seller. Just to be clear, this is not a collaboration with Marles. We don't get any money or discount. I'm simply sharing why we chose them for our own house. So that's how we ended up with a prefabricated house for our future home in Croatia. It's not the only right solution, but for us as a German couple, moving abroad with limited local contacts and a strong focus for quality and risk control, prefab felt like the safest and smartest choice. If you are also thinking about building in Croatia or abroad and have questions about prefabricated or traditional houses, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences and worries. See you in the next video. Bye!